Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video doing JMA Friday. As always on a Friday, we're having a look at the weather paired with the Japanese and CFS V2 models. And this takes us into the second half of September as well, so we go through most of the month. I think it goes around the 25th of September. So it'd be interesting to see what the two models are showing. Now, earlier today we released the first video, which is having a detailed look at Hurricane Harvey, which is in the Gulf of Mexico and bearing down on Texas as we speak, and also it has a look at weather next week to 10 days, which is showing a lot of anticyclonic weather as we head towards the start of September, and potentially very warm weather too. And will this be a little bit at odds with what these longer range models are showing? That's going to be interesting to see. So let's get on with JMA Friday right now, and we're going to have a look at the 500 millibar height anomalies from the Japanese model first of all. These are broken down into weekly periods, so we're starting off looking at the North Pole view down. So this is the pole just here. We've got the mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere around here, and the British Isles is just there. So on these charts, blue will be extrapolating to low pressure, and yellow, orange, brighter colours extrapolating to high pressure. Now, for the week ahead, this is from the 25th today through to the 1st of September, the JMA is showing quite a changeable situation. We've got below average heights centering around to the north of the UK, and we're bringing the jet stream through like that. And you would look at that and think it'll be a very unsettled week ahead. So already with week one, very dubious about what we're seeing here from the JMA, because this does not match up really with what we're seeing from the shorter range models. The coming week looks like it's going to have a lot of anticyclonic weather. Yes, there will be a cold front around, and there was some changeable conditions over weekend. Into the start of next week, a cold front moves southwards on Monday and Tuesday. But I think this is over the top, really. There's no sign that we're going to have a very unsettled week ahead. In fact, I think the coming week will probably be fairly dry. Then we go through to week 2, which is taking us from the 1st through to the 8th of September. And this is showing that we've got high pressure to the south of Greenland, low pressure underneath it coming through like that, with a bit of a southerly tracking jet stream. That looks cool and unsettled for the first week of September. Again, I'm quite dubious about this because we're not seeing any signs really within the GFS and ECMWF outputs that the opening week of September will be particularly cool or particularly unsettled. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, and this one could just continue to look changeable. So the JMA is going for quite a changeable, unsettled September. Low pressure below average heights is to the north, and we just bring the jet stream through rather like that. So let's have a look at the temperature and precipitation anomalies on the tropical and mid-latitude view. So this is British Isles just here, the top right-hand corner of the chart. Again, this is week 1. 25th of August through to 1st of September, and the model is going for a very unsettled week ahead with low pressure below average heights heading in from off the Atlantic. So have a look at the precipitation anomaly. It's coming out for the week ahead with a wetter than average week. I'm very, very dubious about that, to say the least. And in terms of temperature anomalies, well, it's coming out cooler than average in the west, near normal elsewhere. Those temperatures look too cool. It looks like there's far too much precipitation, particularly for England and Wales for the week ahead. We go through to week 2, and that has the below average heights to the south-southwest of us. There's some ridging up to the north, and it looks like we're going to be a southerly tracking jet stream coming through like that as well. Precipitation anomalies show that Scotland and Northern Ireland are going a little bit drier than average, but England and Wales is coming out wetter than average through this first week of September. Remember, this is the 1st through to the 8th of September. Temperature anomalies are still coming out cooler than average, and again, this is very much at odds really with what we're seeing from the shorter range GFS and ECMWF output for the first week of September. Then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, which is the 8th through to 22nd of September. This one looks changeable with below average heights and low pressure out to west, and we'll bring the jet stream through like that. The precipitation anomaly for those 2 weeks is coming out wetter than average. So if this is right, we're in for a very wet September, indeed, with above average rainfall throughout the month, really. And the temperature anomaly is still looking cool, especially so in the west. It's a little bit closer to average in the north and the east, but in the west and the southwest it's coming out cooler than average. Really dubious about this. I think it looks far too unsettled, certainly for the opening days of September, the first week of September, and the final week of August. It looks too cool and too wet in my view. But let's have a look at the CFS V2 and see what that's showing. So again, we've got 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period taking us from the 24th of August through to the 30th. And we've got below average heights out to the west-northwest of us, above average heights down into the southern part of Europe, and a bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge as well. We're doing something like that with the jet stream. So that looks quite changeable. Perhaps not as cool as what the JMA is doing for the week ahead, but it does look quite changeable, particularly so to the north and to the west of the country. Week 2, which is the 31st of August to the 6th of September, looks like this. So below average heights are to the north-northeast. We've got some sort of ridging through the northern part of the Atlantic. We're doing something a little bit like that with the jet stream. That's not as unsettled, and it could be a bit warmer as well, although we are more or less still under a trough, if the model is right. I think we're probably bringing up an influence through the first week of September from a southerly direction. So if, at very least that's a bit warmer, but still quite unsettled. Then week 3 looks like this, very different to what the JMA is seeing. This is the 7th through to the 13th of September. Above average heights are to the northwest of the country. We've got a trough setting up to the northeast, and probably doing something a bit like that with the jet stream. So that's much more settled. There's a lot of dry weathering with that. Probably quite cool temperatures though, because the airflow coming around this ridge is generally from a northerly direction, so it would be pretty cool, but with a fair amount of dry weather. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 14th to the 20th of September. Above average heights out to our west and northwest, below average heights to the northeast. And again, that looks quite cool. We're bringing the wind down and the airflow is coming down from a north or northwesterly direction. Again, a reasonable amount of dry weather because we're blocking off the Atlantic. So this is much more settled compared to the JMA, which is really quite wet. There's more drier conditions in with this, but the temperatures are really quite cool if this is right. Let's have a look at the temperature anomalies. So for the coming week, 24th to the 30th of August, actually a little bit warmer than average with the CFS V2. That looks more probable for the week ahead, I have to say, compared to what the JMA is showing. Then week 2, which goes through the first week of September, that's going cooler than average. Again, I'm quite dubious about that. Week 3, as we get that ridge developing to the north-northwest of us, actually that's going a little bit warmer than average, a little bit milder than average. And then week 4, it's really just close to average through into week 4, which is the 14th to the 20th of September, near normal temperature anomalies there. The temperatures look a little bit more sensible, I have to say, compared to the JMA, which is cool really from start to finish. The temperatures do look a little bit more sensible. For the precipitation anomaly for the week ahead, near normal for England and Wales, wetter than average for Scotland and Northern Ireland. Week 2 precipitation anomalies through the first week of September, near normal, perhaps a little bit for the north anyway, on the drier side. Then week 3, that's going towards the drier side of things as well. And week 4, we'll see this weakening now, so it's average precipitation anomalies for week 4, which is the 14th to the 20th of September. Now, loads of confusion here within these charts, so take this with a really big pinch of salt, what you're seeing in JMA Friday today. I think for the first week, the JMA is far too cool and unsettling. In fact, I'm dubious about the whole of the JMA update today, really. I think the CFS is closer, but even there, we're probably not getting all that close to the pattern for the next couple of weeks, because it looks a little bit cool, really, for certainly that week 2 anomaly through the first week of September. So I think I'm going to stick more towards the shorter range models at the moment. Maybe throw these longer range models into the bin a little bit. What I think is going on is, as I've been talking about in the videos a lot recently, we've got tropical developments taking place down in the tropical Atlantic Ocean. We've got storms, and eventually they might form into hurricanes. Where these tropical developments are going and how they interact with the overall weather system plays a big part, as always, in what's going on downstream, and we're downstream of these tropical developments. I suspect that's why there's so much confusion within the model output at the moment. My own suspicion is that we're going to have a fair amount of dry weather in week ahead and quite warm, and then the first week of September will probably have a lot of dry and warm weather as well. Could be wrong. It might be these long-range models are the way to go, and it's worth saying that the GFS ensembles are not really backing up. This is all explained in the first video. GFS ensembles are not really backing up what we're seeing from the operational GFS and ECMWF at the moment. So there is a chance that first week of September will be cool and unsettled, but my guess is that we'll be on the warmer, drier side of things. Right, that's JMA Friday today. This confusion will start to clear up in a few weeks' time when we get out of the worst of the hurricane season, but for the moment it's just a case of taking everything that's beyond, say, 3 or 4 days with a large pinch of salt. Later on today we'll have the final ENSO update for you. That'll be coming up around 6-7 o'clock this evening. Final ENSO update of the year, I should say. So come back for that this evening, see what's going on with El Nino, La Nina, or that kind of thing. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.